today I will just show you the some visualization that we used to create in Tableau. So I will try to recreate some of them in Power BI and show how much easier it is in Power BI to do that stuff. I think this would just ring the bell, especially for Jairam.
Yeah.
So this is a Sankey funnel. The other visualization is this tornado chart. Then we'll make box and whisker MAQ matrix of box and whisker chart. I think Sai could help me in defining what exactly this means.
So you want me to go ahead now, Sir, or
no? I'm just giving the overview of all the chart, and when we'll prepare this, then you can explain what each of thing means in this chart.
Sure. Yeah.
Then we'll have this bow tie chart. So this and then this is run chart. And the last one is this bullet chart. So today we'll make these 6 chart. Okay, so let's start with the first one, Sankey. So in Power BI, before that, I'm using a data source that is familiar to all of us. This is our Tableau sample dataset. So I'm using this dataset. Okay, let's start with Sankey. So in Power BI, basically we don't have any way of creating our own custom visual. So what we do, we can just import our visual. So let's say if we want to build Sankey, so we'll just click on these 3 icons and go to Power BI visuals. So here you can search a Sankey. So this is the Sankey chart, and this is other Sankey chart, but we'll go this. So if you just click on this, it will give you a description of this chart. So if you have time, you can just go through the description. Basically, it will tell how this chart can be used and what are the purpose of this chart. So if you click add, it will get added. I have already added this chart. It's here. Okay, so for this chart, we just need to define source. So what would be our source? So let's say for this example, I'm taking region as a source, and what would be the destination? So the destination would be, let's say, categories, and the weight basically defines the width of these lines. So let's say we go by sales. So now this is almost ready. So basically, so if you just click, so it will show you the sales amount from each region for the technology categories. So now we, unlike Tableau, we don't have to create a measure or some other calculated field. So it does all that thing in the backend, and it will give you the visuals. Here you will get some additional features like we have data labels, so it will show the name. We have data links, so if you just open it, it will show you the value in the lines, but it won't look good. Then you have the option of link. So here you can just choose the coloring of that each link. So if you want to define a different set of color, you can just define it, and it will just implement. Then we have nodes. Nodes basically starting and the ending point. So you can define the colors of the node, and then others are the normal features. So one drawback of this is you can't have multiple sections. So right now, let's say if I want to go to a subcategory, so it won't allow me to add subcategory in here. So it will show the funnel from one point to another. So if I want to see from region to category and then to subcategory, it won't do it. So I can just create a visualization between region and subcategory like this, but we can't add a category in between. So any doubts on this, Sankey?
Swap, by any chance, can we color the parts based on the some parameter like sales or so? For example, assuming case I would like to color it gradient color where more sales it will be more thicker, and when the sales is less it will be like more of light. Do you have such options?
Uh, no, it's not like that. So basically, it will give you the connections. Like, let me just make it simpler to view. Let's in category here. So like, by links, what it meant for South and office supplies, it will give you a range. Name. If you go to links, you can see South furniture, South office supplies, or South technologies. So you can color it based on that. So it won't be dynamic if the value changes. So once you set a color, it would remain the same irrespective of whether the size is whether the weight is decreasing or increasing. Okay. Then we'll move to this chart, the tornado chart. So adding the tornado chart is the same function. You just go here, get more visuals, and you can just type tornado chart, or you can find here tornado chart. So the blue tick means that they are certified by Power BI, and these are updated by some other users, but Power BI haven't accepted this as of now. But you can install them if you want. And all these charts will be only visible once you log in to this Power BI. So let's go to tornado chart. Okay, so first it's asking about the group. So we can take group as subcategory. Then for legend, I'm just taking order date, and the values, let's take sales. Yeah, so the issue was here, whenever you order use a date field in any place, so it will give you option date order or date hierarchy. So by date order, what it meant the exact date. But when you go by date hierarchy, so it will give you that it's comparing based on the years. But the thing is, if I just see what all years I have, it has these 4 years from 14 to 17, but it's currently showing for 14, 15. So if you want to change, one way of doing is you can change this from there, this filter. So let's say we get 16, 17, or we want 15, 17. The other way of doing it is we can add a slicer in it. Here if we select multiple here, so it will just change accordingly. And this graph gives you basically the sales for each subcategory in the selected year. So 2015, 16, so it will just help you to compare the sales in each subcategory in 2015 compared to 2016. So any questions in this? Okay, now let's move to the third one, the sales, this one. So for here it's same, so we'll just pull this box and whisker chart. So first thing here, it's asked for the axis, on which axis you want to build your so let's say we go by segment. Okay. then it will ask for the value. So let's take sales as a value, and let's take our order date as access category, and I'm just to complete it, I will take product category as well. So now the visualization is giving for furniture product category in 2014. We have this the mean is 52,000, and the mean I think now Sai, I would need your help to explain this.
Sure, yes. So typically, if you see the box whisker plot that you're seeing on the screen is used to represent the distribution of a particular variable's values. Okay, so the box whisker plot, as the name says, has two parts to it. So one is called as the box and the other is called as the whisker. So the box is what they are referring to as the rectangle that you see right on the chart. So that rectangular portion is called as the box, and the lines, one line on top of the rectangle and the other line below the rectangle, so those two are called as the whiskers. Okay, now when I said distribution of a particular variable, typically what it means is the minimum value, the maximum value, and the percentile values. So minimum value, so if you see the box whisker plot, the bottommost whisker that you see, right? So sales is 26,000. So that will be the minimum sales value for the home office category in 2014. Similarly, the top whisker shows the maximum value of the sales. So these two are the minimum and the maximum value. And you will also get the interquartile range. So if you see, look at the tooltip, you have something called as IQR, right? So that is nothing but interquartile range, which is defined as the 75th percentile minus the 25th percentile. So you see, just hover over that stuff once more. Yeah, thanks. So quartile 3 has a value of 65,500. Quartile 1 has a value of 35,500. So quartile 3 is nothing but 75th percentile, quartile 1 is nothing but 25th percentile. So 75th percentile minus the 25th percentile, so that is called as the interquartile range. That is 65,000 minus 35,000, you get the value as 30,000. Okay, and the center line in the graph, right, what you have inside the box, so that is called as the median. So you have the median as 45,100. So that is what the center line indicates. So the bottommost whisker indicates the minimum value. The starting point of the rectangular box indicates the 25th percentile. The middle line inside the box indicates the 50th percentile or the median. The top line of the rectangle indicates the 75th percentile or the third quartile. And the topmost whisker indicates the maximum value. I will also talk about one more application where I have used this in the past. So a few years back, I was working for the aerospace industry, where you might be familiar that any aircraft engine has around hundreds of parts, right? So in engineering, we always have a measure called as reliability, or how often does a particular part fail. Okay. Now this box whisker plot can be used to detect outliers in the data. So what we did was we plotted that metric called as mean time between failure for each engine part as a box whisker plot. So each dot that you see in that box whisker plot would represent one particular part in the engine. And if any part has if any point on that box whisker plot is located in the higher portion of that plot, then it means that it is highly reliable. And if any part is located in the lower region, that it means the reliability is low. So that was one application of the box and whisker plot which I also encountered. And similarly, any data cleaning work that you do, right, before doing any machine learning project, so we have something called as that outlier treatment. So if any particular value is very high or very low in one of the variables that you have, then you use this box whisker plot to identify those outliers and remove them. So any questions here?
Okay. Thanks, Sai.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So yeah, this was box whisper, and then we had this bow tie chart. So the preparation method is the same. So let me just show you in here itself. So whenever you choose this one, you will get what is the source, what is the value, and what is the destination. So for source, I have chosen my category as a source. The value I have taken sales, and the destination is a subcategory. So what it's showing is that the total sales in the technology category is 836K. And if you want, I just want to see the subdivision. I just click on technology. It will click all the subcategories in the technology, and it will give the sales of that subcategory. So it's 33K, 330K, 189K, 167, 150, and the sum of it would be 836. So if I click it again, it will give me the total sales was 2297, and division in categories and subcategories. And if I want any detail analysis, I just click on this category, and it will give me the detailed analysis based on subcategory belonging to that category. So any doubts here? Okay, then let's move to the next.
One quick question, Swap here.
Yeah.
See, and this question is for everyone actually. See, where would you think this kind of a chart would be useful? So I think what is showing here is that the sales. So basically, when I see the machines, when these are two different categories of sales they have put in here, right? But I think I'm just trying to understand where would it be very appropriate.
You just need to remember how many jumps we are taking. The first number will represent how many jumps we have to take, and this number.
One thing that I can possibly think of is on the left side, if we have too many subcategories, right, or too many of the level 2 data points, then clicking on that level 1 data point on the right would, let's say for example, we have state and cities, states on the right and cities or districts on the left. Now districts will be a lot many, right? And just looking at this visualization in this view might not give a very clear picture. But in those cases, not like how Swap demonstrated just now, if we click on a state to the right,
Okay, we can just
then if
make
the
region, and we'll bring state here.
I'll let you know.
maybe now if we just click on any particular region, I
Hmm.
think now it gives a clearer picture, I guess.
Picture, yeah. So, any other ideas?
Moving to the overview page, right? This is a density of Google Classroom. This we have done the screen.
Somewhat similar to what Saya said, like from region to state instead of that, like from year to months, for we have like couple of years across instead of region, and if we have months across year, once you tap the year, how the sales has been distributed across the months of the particular year. What I thought of.
Okay, got it. See, I think something like this would be very useful whenever I think there is a sort of a movement from one to the other. I think that's where I think this is sort of best useful. And typically, if there is a sort of a meeting point, right, and sort of certain traffic sort of comes into that meeting point, and from there it sort of gets distributed. This is very suitable for that kind of a data. Right, an example of this is one is the let's say the web traffic, right? Let's say there is a certain page that you're trying to analyze, and you're trying to figure out from where is the traffic coming in, and from here where is it going. Okay, I'll give you a quick example of this. Let's say there is a product page. Okay, this is sort of similar to Sankey visualization. But I think when you're trying to analyze one particular sort of place and how traffic is flowing in and flowing out, I think this would be very useful, I feel. So for example, and this also is, I think, I'm not so sure if there are any other nodes that you can attach to this, swap. So basically what I'm thinking is, let's say for example, if you have, let's say, so remember Saidi, the Sankey that we created, I think, the three of you have laid your hands, I'm sure everyone knows it. So basically, so there is a, let's say, a product page that we are trying to analyze. We are trying to see where is the traffic coming from to the product page. For example, certain traffic is coming from, let's say, directly from search engine, certain is coming from search, certain traffic is coming from a certain, maybe a slightly different type of a search, certain traffic is coming from recommended products, right? And certain traffic is coming from, let's say, some blogger page, something like that. So all of this kind of traffic is on the sort of left hand side. So that is all is coming into that particular page, okay? And from here, certain traffic is going into, let's say, reviews, certain traffic is going into, again, recommended pages, certain traffic is going into add to cart and then purchase thereafter, and so on and so forth. Or certain traffic is going straight from here, they're exiting the page and they're doing a new search, for example. Okay, for that kind of a thing, this is sort of very easily suitable. Is one thought. Another example of this is, let's say if you're also trying to analyze, let's say there is a very busy junction, okay, and you're trying to analyze traffic there, okay. The junction can be both literal or sort of metaphorical. Let's say more like, let's say for example, if you have a railway traffic, okay, which is coming in, these are people who are coming in from a certain area and people are going to a different area. So this can be more like a metro junction point, right, where maybe 2 or 3 different sort of lines sort of come together and meet. Where is the traffic coming from and how are they going? And this is also by timeline. Morning, how is it happening? Evening, how is it happening? All of that kind of stuff, will make it look like, see, these are all coming in from different places and then going out, right? So I think it is very suitable, just given the layout of the thing. That's what I just thought I'll probably add and also learn from you guys how, maybe if you guys have some other ideas.
Yeah, so like you said, so it's like I have a region on my right hand side and a subcategory on my left hand side. So now if I click on any region, so it will tell me what was the sale subcategory on the subcategory from that region.
No, got it. I got that. So see, for us, this is not very different from putting these, region separately and the subcategory separately, right? I see the value of this. I think what I'm trying to say is, where is it much more appropriate is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, but I got what you said. So when you click on this, the left hand side sort of filters, and so you're able to focus on those, right? That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So now values have changed.
Perfect.
So for your web traffic example, it would work that way. And if let's say we don't have any phone orders from South region, so that branch will remove. It will remove that branch.
Yes. Perfect. I got that. Yeah. Perfect.
So then we have this run bar chart. I think it's familiar to all. So the same for this, all we just need to decide the name, basically the axis. Like I'm choose the state as my name. The value I've taken as sales and the period. So the period here also I have taken the hierarchical date. If you want, you can take the exact date, and this period will run on that exact date. The other feature that we can control here is how many state you want to show. Like here currently is top 10, so you can just change to top 5 or top 6 or something like that. Then we have duration. So the current duration is 5,000 seconds. If you want to increase the speed, you can just reduce the duration. If you want to reduce the speed, you can just increase the duration. Then simple, if you want to change the font size and the font size, then we have this grid line. It will just remove this grid line. If you want to hide the number, it will hide the number. And if you want to hide the period, it will hide the period, and you can just customize the size. So basically, we have the feature to customize this view. And then the last we have this bullet chart. So basically, it's useful for the data. Let's say mostly for the sales data, where you have set of target. Let's say if you have a
Sorry, one quick question again, Swap.
Yeah.
See, in the previous one, the run chart, so when you turn off autoplay,
Yeah.
do you get a button somewhere to play it?
no, so if I just turn off the autoplay, what we need to do is we just need to do some changes in this chart and then it will run. So like, let me show you once it's complete.
Okay.
So right now, if I'm clicking, it's not doing anything. If I reduce or even decrease this chart, it won't do. But when I come back on this page, then only it would work.
Okay. But so what do you mean autoplay is off then? Because it is doing an autoplay, right?
No, it's not doing so. It's not working as of now. When
Autoplay means as in it is in loop mode, is it?
Yeah. So now if I just click here, it will start running.
Acha. Okay. Got it. Oh, so it runs only the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Super. Yeah.
So even when the autoplay is on, once it's complete, it won't run until and unless you do some changes to visualization. So right now, you just move this size, so start running again.
Okay. So these, so just I think I probably missed some things. So these are all template that you have imported, or
Yeah, all of these are templates. The way of importing them is when you go to app source, you will get what kind of chart you want. If you want a time-based chart, you can get it here. This is coming from here, time-based chart, animated bar
got
chart.
it, perfect.
Then we have Gantt chart, similar chart. So it depends on your requirement. You can just import that chart if it's present in this app source.
Super, yeah, perfect.
And so now let's move to the last chart. So this kind of visualization helps when you have set targets. So let's say you have various sales operative and you have set them a target for them. What would be the minimum? What would be the maximum? And what would be the good value? If you have that kind of data, then this visualization would be helpful. So let me. So our current data is not like that, but let me explain you how it works. So. So what I did, I choose a category as my category. So technology, furniture, and office supplies, and we have just put a sales on it. So now we don't have as such target. So I created a calculated field for it, sales target. So what it is, it was the sum of sales into 1.2. So it would be always greater than our existing sales. So I just use that as my target value. So now we have a target value. So now what if you want to visualize that what would be the minimum minimum amount of sales that you want, how much sales if it is that would be need improvement, what would be satisfactory percentage, what would be a good percentage, and what very good maximum. So basically for any sales data, if we have various target value, we can just import it. So for the time in what I'm doing, let's say for need improvement, I'm saying that minimum is a need improvement, and then for good, let's say I will take the average. So our average is greater than our minimum, so that's why it's turned to green and our minimum has moved to almost 0. And if I talk about maximum, if you see our satisfactory is, if there's a small shade of red, that means that part is need improvement. The yellow means it's a satisfactory sale, and the green means a very good sale. So if we have this value for each category, then it would be better represent our data. So these kind of this visualization is used for any target based data. So every sales employee get his target. So for those kind of data, this could be helpful because it will just categorize our sales in that way. Yeah. So any doubts on this one? Let me show you this. So yeah, it would look something like this. But currently our data is not that way, that we don't have any targets in the data. So if we had that minimum, if the value is, let's say 100,000 is our, if the sales is less than 100,000, it needs improvement. If the sales is less than 200,000, it's still satisfactory. And if the sales is more than 200,000, it's very good. If we had that those values, we can just our data would look like this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These were the 6 visualization that I think it's typically hard in Tableau, but in Power BI they are direct to create. So any doubts in any one of them?
Swap, how do they make those templates, by the way, and upload in the Power BI visualization?
Even I'm not sure. Basically, some of them is done by coding,
Okay.
and some of them they create customly. I'm not sure.
A swap, if one of the template got updated, will that be replicated in our workbook as well?
No. So if you see, like, let's take our example of Sankey. So if you can see, it's 3.03.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they will have an updated version, and you can update. You have to download that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Once you download, it will just update the existing version. You don't need to change the visualization, but you need to download the updated version.
Okay.
Okay, I think these are all the custom charts that are not present in our default settings.